Akim Olufemi Gbajabiamila. God bless you all.
Without an attempt on the part of the federal government to get to the root of failure.
Tough talk and hard decisions on accountability and patriotism as lawmakers tackle issues of collapsed scanners.
The bill will complement the efforts of our law enforcement, prosecuting agencies,
and House set to legislate on forensic examination and fraud, reaches out to experts for insights. Welcome to another fresh package of House Ticket, a weekly summary of legislative activities of the House of Representatives of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Many thanks for joining us again. I'm your regular anchor, Binta Magaji. There was no plenary last week as members of the House went to their various zones to participate in the public hearings to amend the Constitution. On this package, therefore, our focus will be on committee activities, and in one of the meetings, lawmakers lament the non-utilization of scanners bought since 2013 meant for security checks at entry points into the country. The sum of $120 million is in question. We also have a session where debates on forensics, auditing and accounting as stakeholders hold debate and discussion to fashion out a law that will stand the test of time. In another committee room, a collaboration with the Ministry of Science and Technology to deliver on the mandate of the people is being sought by the Committee on Research Institute as stakeholders lament the lack of adequate attention to science and technology in the development of the country. These and more as we meet again after the short break. Please stay tuned.
If we set our minds right, embrace each other in love and brotherhood, we will come through these troubling times. We will survive, we will recover, and then we will thrive. One nation under God, free, peaceful, and prosperous.
Let us begin the program with stories from the committee room on customs and excise, where there was an investigation into the maximum use of scanners procured by government since 2013. Lawmakers call for accountability in that regard. Still on utilization of government's potentials for the overall good of the country, Committee on Research Institute meets over the challenges in the Ministry of Science and Technology. The stories as compiled and presented from the studios.
The House Committee on Customs and Excise launched an investigation into the lack of transparency in the transfer of technical know-how from Cotecna SGS Scanning Nigeria Limited and Societe Generale Surveillance Limited SGS to Nigerian Customs Service and Global Scan Systems Limited. More than $120 million was used in the execution of the contract in question. The project was also based on a build, own, operate and transfer terms, BOOT, which provided that the service providers will give training and technical support services to the Nigerian Customs Services on risk management, valuation and classification. The investigation is consequent upon a motion adopted in December 2020 during plenary to the effect that a lack of transfer of technical know-how has led to the collapse of multi-million-dollar scanners installed in 2006 at Nigerian ports and border stations by the service providers being Cotecna and Societe Generale as contracted by the federal government. When the investigation opened, the Ninth House of Representatives frowned at the development, calling for cooperation and synergy from stakeholders towards achieving the objectives of the project, which is in the interest of the nation. This much was said by the Speaker during his opening remarks at the event. He was represented.
Within a year of the handover, the scanners had stopped functioning and Nigerian ports and borders were once again returned to the analog process of physical examination. Our purpose here today is to ascertain what happened to those machines and to determine why, despite the massive investment in the sector, we did not achieve the modernization objectives that motivated the investment.
The Committee on Customs and Excise, on its part, described the situation as a corporate crime, economic sabotage, concluding that insecurity has worsened due to the non-functional scanners at the various entry points into the country.
Lack of accountability and, very sadly, deliberate economic sabotage. Therefore, the idea of purchase of new scanners or the revamp of existing but moribund scanners without an attempt on the part of the federal government to get to the root of failure of the past scanners regime will not be the case at this critical time.
The committee expressed the hope that the outcome of the investigations will cause the federal government to declare a state of emergency in the critical sectors of the ports and borders and to ensure sustainability and efficiency in Nigeria's export and import industry. Under oath, stakeholders directly involved made presentations on their participation in the contract. The main benefiting agency, the Nigerian Customs Services, spoke to the issue at hand.
Nigerian Customs Service is not privy to any of these subheadings you want us to comment on. The contracts were not signed by Customs, they were not reviewed by Customs, they were not re-awarded by Customs. When we took over the scanners, the contract, the maintenance, the issuance of spare parts, consumables were not part of the handing over to Nigerian Customs Service. Rather, what we saw was global scan were sent to us. And I wish the global scanner here, even last 2 months, they came and said they are suing Nigerian Customs Service to court because they demanded for payment and we say nothing was supplied.
The Nigerian Customs Services added that the only aspect it can talk confidently is on capacity building.
Cotecna, as the major service provider then, gave us the best. We were trained locally, we were trained internationally. And that time when Cotecna built the fixed scanner, they were the best in the world. I'm happy to be part of that training and part of that team that time as an assistant controller. The equipment were working perfectly until when we took over and the maintenance supply of consumables like diesel to generate the generator are not part of the handing over. It was interesting to know that even that time that we took over, these things were still sound. There are days we cannot work because we don't see global scan to supply us diesel to run the generators.
The representative of the Nigerian Customs Service also explained that the contract had options which stipulates either repairs of the collapsed ones or a trade-in again partnership with the manufacturers of the scanners. To this end, the Nigerian Customs Services stated that the CBN has indicated interest to intervene in the matter through the provision of 4 new scanners to the customs based on the contract terms. Customs is, however, still waiting for further commitment from the CBN on the proposals by the Nigerian Customs Services. The Central Bank of Nigeria also took to the podium.
When the handover was done, they made sure that all the equipment they are working order before they handed over to customs. And the account is in central bank, but every payment made is made through by the Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and Statistics. So we are just overseeing it, and the CBN's role is acting as the secretariat of the CIS.
There were other speakers as well, contractors, freight forwarders and customs brokers and other government agencies. The manufacturer of the scanners, Mace, said as at handover by Cotecna and SGS, all the machines managed by them were operational except those by Global Scan. In addition, the warranty has since expired many years ago. They, however, stated that maintenance is expected to be contracted.
Initially, we recommended that from what we had done on the audit, at least 14 machines, 13 to 14 machines could be brought back into operation. And of course, now these machines are today the most efficient in screening, viewing the contents of the containers to know exactly what is inside. We have a penetrating depth of 38 millimeters. We as the manufacturer are very willing and ready to come in and support this project because the amount of money invested in this project by the federal government of Nigeria is immense. And at the present environment, it would be more feasible and more simpler for us to fix some of these machines at the earliest possible time.
For the Nigerian Shippers Council, it agreed that the scanners should be repaired, but then advocated more support for the Nigerian customs for efficient output. Just as the council said, ease of doing business must also be addressed as a way forward.
So we should not be going forward and be coming back. Why am I saying so? You know, we operate in the port. Shippers Council happen to be the port economic operator. And I'm telling you that we are in competition with other ports. Nobody is going to wait for us. If you say you are bringing back the service providers, don't forget that you are supposed to pay them 0.4% of their FOB. If you calculate it, you discover that it runs into billions of naira. So they are not coming back to do the work free of charge. They are coming back to do it at a cost. So why not now, even if you give customs, even 10% of that money, I believe that they will even do that work better. So conclusively, we also made the reference that while we are addressing the issue of scanner, the issue of single window must equally be addressed.
Global Scan System Limited was absent at the sitting, as well as some officers of the Nigerian Customs Services who were part of the contract from 2006 to 2013. The committee reacted to this development and made comments on the presentations by the stakeholders, suggesting next steps to be taken to address the matter.
If they could allow all these scanners to just decay.
The transition committee set up a transition that they should hand over this thing, and at the handover, those scanners, they were working perfectly well. Within 3 years, 2 years, those scanners couldn't work again.
Not up to a year.
Not up to a year. The scanners couldn't work. They are not working again. So we are looking at sabotage. The sabotage has gone to the fact that as at now, when the manufacturers and the maintenance officer are saying that those scanners can be repaired and be functional, we are looking at the way of buying 3, leaving 22. My suggestion is that we have to go back to the old system where the manufacturers and the service providers are brought back totally out of customs.
That person who was not supposed to be, who was unable to be here, he has a question to answer. I'm pretty sure, and the custom also. So we'll have to find out between the two of them why they allow all those scanners not to function. You cannot even provide diesel for your scanners to use. But you provide diesel for your houses, for your comfort. But you cannot buy diesel for your scanners to function. So it is most unfortunate. We should dig deep to find out who is to be blamed for this and the way forward. To be honest, we cannot allow this country to be going just like that.
And even though you want to start e-custom, it cannot work in the next 2 weeks. It cannot work in the next 3 months. It cannot work, even maybe this year it may not work. So why don't you look for this, use this opportunity to make these canals work? Because as I'm talking to you, as we are speaking here, ammunitions are still coming in. All these hard drugs are still coming in through the port. Both the border stations, the airport and seaports, we need to take a decisive step. Why not the technical partner take over these repairs, take the inventory, look into it, because they are going to supply the part. If you give it to Cotecna now, Cotecna will go and meet them. So this is not going to be acceptable to us as a committee. We would like direct dealing.
The investigation continues at another scheduled date.
Minister, you are welcome once again.
In another committee room, a newly constituted committee by the 9th House, the Committee on Research Institute, chaired by lawmaker Akinremi Olaide, had a brief session with the Minister of Science and Technology, Ogbonnaya Onu. The committee's mandate, amongst other things, is to oversight the Ministry of Science and Technology and its agencies, especially in the areas of research and knowledge. The committee wanted to know the challenges inherent in the ministry and its agencies over research matters, funding, and general development of science and technology in the country. The floor was given to the minister to present challenges faced by the ministry.
Our nation allowed our economy to be dependent almost entirely on commodities. That is to say that the foreign exchange earnings coming into the treasury of the government had come from commodities. But this ministry has been at the lead. We've been in the forefront to now move our economy to be dependent on knowledge that is innovation driven. And it's a very difficult journey, but it is the only journey that can take us to greatness.
Members of the committee contributed to the discussions.
How much are we budgeting for research? Do we depend on the China that you talked about? Do we only depend in America, British or South Africans? The areas of geology or mining, you can't do that without science and tech. Anything you can think about Nigeria to get it done, it has to be scientific or with technology.
We really need your support. You really need your support, and we are ready to work with you to make sure that we move the ministry forward, particularly in terms of retreats and so on. I think before the budget, you need to improve our capacity to know what we are going, what is our responsibility and what are the targets. I can recall back when I was the council chairman, some years 2017, we have been sponsored to India. We started from the local government in India, where one of the local government called Sawatori moved to the state level, Goa and Gurgaon. Most of those states, most of their yearly budget, they fix it 55% on research. That was why you see India are always moving forward.
The meeting went into a closed-door session thereafter. The chairman of the new committee, speaking after the meeting, said the desire of the lawmakers is to see how it can provide the legislative support to see to the development of science, research, and technology.
If we are giving this, the ministry that's supposed to have like 300, 400, 500 billion, even 1 trillion. Look at India. Today, you want to see Indian doctor. You see the laboratory here and there controlled by India is because they develop and support their science department. So this ministry, this one ministry that has been helping Nigeria all along, but not enough. They cannot do it alone. The minister told us that they have been doing so many things that require expertise from abroad. But because of lack of funding, they have been doing this all alone. How long do you think they will do that? You need people that are more fertile in that particular area to show you what you're supposed to do at the right time. If not, we'll be appropriating funds every year, and won't achieve the required result.
You're watching House Ticket, coming your way on the NTA Parliament. Let us take a last report on the program from the sitting of the Joint Committee on Anti-Corruption and Commerce. On a one-day public hearing to seek the opinion and support of the stakeholders on a bill for an act to establish the Chartered Institute for Forensic and Certified Fraud Examiners of Nigeria to provide for the regulation and control of its membership and promote the practice of forensics and fraud examiners in Nigeria and for other matters. At the opening of the event, the representative of Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila said the Ninth House welcomes any step and action designed to strengthen or bring about institutions that will support the fight against corruption in the Nigerian society.
Part of that effort requires us to ensure that these anti-corruption agencies have access to the pool of qualified and credentialed talent to conduct complex fraud investigations, carry out forensic audits, and gather the evidence that allows the perpetrators of criminal and corrupt acts to be properly held to account.
On behalf of the two committees jointly working on the bill, Lawmaker Shehu Garba, Chairman House Committee on Anti-Corruption, encouraged citizens' participation in governance by contributing meaningfully to lawmaking in the country.
There is no gainsaying that providing a legal framework to facilitate the establishment of a bill on Chartered Institute of Forensic and Certified Fraud Examiners of Nigeria will go a long way in instituting a culture of efficiency, transparency, and probity in our day-to-day life. It will also ensure that, we work in accordance with what obtains in other claims.
The sponsor of the bill enlightened participants on how the bill intends to function amongst other general principles.
This establishment bill does not require funding by the government, as it shall purely be funded by its members' subscriptions when passed into law. Therefore, the bill will complement the efforts of our law enforcement prosecuting agencies such as EFCC, ICPC, NFIU, and the police in terms of capacity building of professionals for both public and private sectors in the areas of fraud examination, fraud investigation, as well as forensics, and save the Nigerian economy trillions of naira to the tune of 5 trillion naira annually arising from illicit financial flows.
Then it was time for lawmakers to listen and receive submissions from invited stakeholders, such as the Council for Forensic Examiners of Nigeria, amongst other forensic and accounting bodies.
Up till this moment in Nigeria, we don't have a chartered body that specifically deals with the issues of forensics and fraud examination. And let me also emphasize further that the ICANN and ANAN Act and also the CITN Act provides for the training of accountants and auditing and taxation. But that space of forensics, which is also multidisciplinary, beyond forensic accounting itself, is what the Institute seeks to address. The greatest gift that you can give to Nigerians when it comes to the fight against corruption is the accelerated passage of this bill.
Passing the bill into law by a presidential assent, the Council added, will also lay a foundation and institutional framework in the private sector of a self-funded and self-regulated agency that will assist and complement the efforts of law enforcement agencies in Nigeria. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICANN, and the Association of National Accountants of Nigeria, ANAN, in opposing the bill, cited duplication of functions and repetition of legislations, amongst others. According to ICANN, there was a similar bill that had come up in the 8th Assembly which did not get presidential assent. The reasons for its failure to pass is still being embedded in the new bill, says the two professional bodies, and that they are of the opinion that they should not be compelled to join the new body being proposed, but rather be allowed to continue practicing forensic, accounting, and investigations.
One bill is forensic and fraud examiners, and the other is forensic and investigative professionals. So ICANN has forensic faculty that train people for forensics. And
everything that have been discussed today are already being covered in the training that ICANN is providing.
Government agencies of the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit (NFIU), the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation (NDIC), and the Economic Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) also participated in the discussions.
For us, we would support the initiative of government to strengthen the capacity of investigators, examiners. It is heart-rending and unfortunate that a lot of our cases fail in courts, not because of the lack of intelligence on them, but also the lack of the quality investigation or capacity to turn data, materials like accounting data and the rest of them into actionable evidence in court.
The use of the word certified fraud examiner, especially the use of the word examiner, would be misinterpreted to affect the banking examination functions of both the CBN and the NDIC. We would therefore suggest that if another word can be used, maybe inspectors, certified fraud inspectors, or certified fraud auditors, so that there will be no confusion.
The EFCC informed the gathering that it has a full service of seasoned forensic experts domiciled in various departments of the agency. This notwithstanding, it supports the consideration of the piece of legislation with some observations.
The bill does not provide for the jurisdiction of the court in prosecuting the offenses listed in Section 19 of the bill. There is need, therefore, to provide the jurisdiction of courts to try the offenses.
Another support for the bill came from the legal field.
INA seem to be more fixated with the issue of accountancy. And I want to believe, and which I've checked, which I've read, which I've reviewed, to know that institutionalization of this current institute as proposed by this bill will go far more than the issue of accountancy. Somebody Kayode Ajulo will like to be known as a fellow of that institute because in most of my practice, we talk of fraud every day. It is not the issue of being an accountant again. Today in Nigeria, we've been talking of DNA. Everybody wants to know this matrimonial fraud or even romance fraud. Today, I know of many cases being handled in my office that when it comes to DNA, we always look toward the South Africa.
In wrapping up the discussions on the bill, lawmakers promised an analytical examination of the submissions made to fine-tune the bill for the benefit of all.
To do what is right for the country.
Many thanks for being a part of the program, hoping you've been further enlightened on the workings of the Legislature, Federal Republic of Nigeria. Let us hear from you through our feedback channels showing on your screen regarding the constitutional role and activities of our elected representatives in the Green Chamber of the National Assembly. What are those grey areas of legislations you seek to be educated on? Send in your questions and comments, and we'll do our best to get responses on them from our lawmakers. Goodbye now, and see you again soon.